reform law known as Obamacare. It brings the president one step closer to delivering his key campaign pledge to replace Barack Obama's signature policy. The bill will now be put to the Senate for approval. Laurent Bestaquin has more.
Celebrating his biggest win yet. A jubilant Donald Trump vowed he would finish off the Affordable Care Act after Congress narrowly approved a law to repeal Obama's signature bill.
This is a repeal and a replace of Obamacare, make no mistake about it. As much as we've come up with a really incredible health care plan, this has brought the Republican Party together.
Replacing Obamacare had been one of Trump's central campaign promises. But two successive failures to even pass a repeal bill through Congress raised questions on his administration's ability to enact reforms. Thursday's victory could now boost Trump's hopes of pushing other major bills through in the future.
The Republicans have been under tremendous pressure to fulfill their campaign promises of the last 7 years and repeal and replace Obamacare. So this is really the Republican caucus showing that they can hold together under very difficult circumstances.
The 2010 Affordable Care Act, which expanded the government's insurance program and provided tax credits for the poor, enabled an estimated 20 million Americans to get health insurance. The new Republican bill seeks to revoke nearly all of these changes, something Democrats warn could further erode protection for those who need it most.
What we did today in passing this legislation was absolutely inhumane because it will allow the reinstitution of egregious forms of discrimination against some of the most vulnerable people in our society.
Yet it may be too soon for Trump to claim victory. The bill must now be approved by the Senate, where even Republicans say major changes are likely. In a sign of difficulties to come, nearly every medical group in the country said they were opposed to the reform.
France 24's Philip Crowther has more now from Washington, D.C. on what's likely to happen next in the Senate.
It won't be the exact same bill that will be voted on in the Senate. It will be a different version of it. And again, it will be difficult for it to get through, even though the Senate, much like the House, is controlled by Republicans right now, but with a very, very slender majority. So you'll have two very different bills coming out of this. If indeed there is a successful Republican yes vote in the Senate, they will then have to be basically made into one bill that would then be signed into law by US President Donald Trump. We're not there yet. There is a lot of debate still to come. And that is why this event in the Rose Garden of the White House was so surprising and seemed so premature. This was a big, big victory lap organized by the White House and by House Republicans for them to be standing in the Rose Garden celebrating each other when this is only the first part of 3 parts that are needed for the repeal and the replacement of Obamacare to really become a concrete reality.
With Donald Trump working to unravel Barack Obama's policy, the former US president has been turning his attention to the election here in France. As voters prepare to head to the polls on Sunday, centrist candidate Emmanuel Macron is surging ahead in the polls against far-right rival Marine Le Pen. On Thursday, Obama endorsed Macron in a special video message. He appealed to French voters to back the independent centrist and called him the candidate of hope.
I've always been grateful for the friendship of the French people and for the work we did together when I was President of the United States. I'm not planning to get involved in many elections now that I don't have to run for office again. But the French election is very important to the future of France and the values that we care so much about. Because the success of France matters to the entire world. I have admired the campaign that Emmanuel Macron has run. He has stood up for liberal values. He put forward a vision for the important role that France plays in Europe and around the world, and he is committed to a better future for the French people. He appeals to people's hopes and not their fears. And I enjoyed speaking to Emmanuel recently to hear about his independent movement and his vision for the future of France. I know that you face many challenges, and I want all of my friends in France to know how much I am rooting for your success. Because of how important this election is, I also want you to know that I am supporting Emmanuel Macron to lead you forward. En marche! House.
Many French voters